Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5. So we are back. Amanda James. Hello.
Hello.
It's good to be back. We're going to carry on with Jody's interrogation. So she is still talking to Detective Blaney, and her cracks are showing, but she hasn't cracked yet. So it'll be interesting to see what she comes out with this time. Again, just to refresh everybody, this is after her very first night in jail. So we see a very different Jody. She has a totally different demeanor. And I think that was the purpose of bringing her in at this point. She's been taken out of her comfort zone. She did not sleep in her own bed. And because she's out of her comfort zone, she's out of control. So she's not able to go home at night, and she spent time in a place that was probably a little scary. I'm not sure what it was like there exactly, but the fact that she doesn't have the free will to be able to walk out of there at any point. I'm sure that had to at least have some kind of effect on her. What do you think?
I agree. She seemed so much more confident the day before in her own clothes, which I think that does make a difference. Like you said, she has no control over anything down
Mm-hmm.
to her clothing. Um,
Yeah.
I'm sure it was really scary. And I think the reality is dawning on her, and you can really see that I think she thought that she was smart enough to fool everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they wouldn't have enough evidence to hold her. And then she spent her first night in jail, and it seems to be crashing down, and she's got to think quick of how to get herself out of this.
Exactly, exactly. So let's get started.
Okay.
So Jody hangs out here for a couple of minutes while the detective is out of the room. And this reminds me of a child who's upset or embarrassed,
Hmm.
right? They go under the table.
Yeah, what the hell is she doing? Kind of hiding from the camera or
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if she knows that the camera's there, exactly where it would be located, but it's definitely a strange position to take.
she's so weird. Do you think she's waiting for the because we saw when she was waiting for Detective Flores to come in the first time, she was posing. She was like
Mm-hmm.
positioning herself on the table, purposely waiting for him to come in. And when she'd hear someone walk by the door, she would like get into um, this pose on the table. I wonder
Yeah.
if she's doing it on purpose,
Yeah, I
waiting
don't
for someone to
know.
come in so they find her under the table.
I don't know. I mean, she was doing like headstands and stuff before, and they didn't care. So
She's so weird.
she's very weird. And you just hear people walking by, like it's just a normal day, and she's snotting all over her arm. I feel like if I was in that position, I would be frozen. Like I would just sit in the chair and not move.
Yeah, I don't think I would be pulling my hair out strand by strand, which
Is
is
that
what
what
she
she's doing?
appears
I
to
thought
be
she was.
doing.
I thought she was picking it off the chair.
Oh, maybe she was. You see her do that a lot with her hair.
She does.
Maybe she sheds a lot, but you see her kind of like flinging strands of hair everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, now she's crying.
Yeah, she is crying. Yes. And I think this is genuine.
I agree. It's for herself. She's like,
Sure.
shit, I'm in jail. I have no way out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the clothes, like you had mentioned before, had a big impact on how she's feeling because she's in an orange jumpsuit. It doesn't
Hmm.
get worse than that, right?
Right, and I think she uses like her body and her looks
Mm-hmm.
to try to get her way.
Yeah.
And you can't really do that in an orange jumpsuit.
Right. So the detective will be back in just a second here.
Is this when she went to get her tissue or water?
I think she may have gotten her water. She said, I can't remember now. I
I
can't
can't remember either, and I just watched it like a few minutes ago.
remember.
Yeah, she went to get her something,
I
or
think
she might
she
have just
did.
said, she might have just said, like, I'm gonna leave you alone for a few minutes to think about this.
She did.
And
Yeah, she did do that. I think she may have gotten her a water as well. She's probably exhausted too. I wonder if she slept.
I imagine I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Jody, get your face off the seat. People sit there. That's not where you want your face.
That's true. I didn't even think of that.
Oh, there she is.
Jody, I'm really confused. Maybe I did have a wrong picture of you. You know, all of this time that you and I have been talking, and I got information from your other interview, you are talking about insignificant things at this point. You're talking about money, you're talking about material things, you're talking about everything but
I'm just
you're talking about
things that
just
offend the people I care about.
you're talking about everything but how bad you feel about Travis. You only respond to my questions.
If I murdered
Specifically
Travis, I
about
would be
Travis.
very remorseful.
I think that I've gotten the wrong picture of you. I think that, maybe I was wrong. Maybe you are that cold-blooded person that they're trying to portray. And, I'm just really confused. At this point, maybe you're right. Maybe there isn't anything that you can do to help yourself. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe you're not as intelligent as I thought you were. Maybe I was wrong. What do you think should happen to the person that murdered Travis?
I've never been one for an eye for an eye, but they took his life, and even the Book of Mormon says that that calls for the life of the person that took his life.
Okay, so she says, I don't believe in an eye for an eye, but I believe in an eye for an eye.
Yes, because it's in the
Okay.
Book of Mormon.
The worthless answer, Jody. But you always see detectives ask that
Yes,
in
I was thinking that
homicide
too.
cases.
Yeah, yeah. I think they even asked Chris Watts, right? What should happen?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, that's the one that popped in. Because, of course, their answer is going to be pretty telling.
Hmm.
If they were to say, well, I'm a pretty forgiving person. like,
Right, I bet you are.
I would give them a chance to tell their side of the story because maybe they were really
Hmm.
upset that day or, something like that.
Right.
I think that's the path that you're going down right now, and it's inevitable, so why fight it?
Not sure, kind of, but I'm not sure. I don't know where I'm going.
So, tell me this. After looking at all the evidence and what I think is crystal clear, if you didn't kill Travis, then who did?
He was private about a lot of aspects of his life.
Mm-hmm.
He told me some things I got from some of his, Facebook account, email account, or MySpace or whatever, because I had the passwords to those. But I don't know, like, occasionally he would get solicitations, and he would always respond, not to answer the solicitation, but to kind of call the person out.
I wonder what that is.
I was just wondering the same thing. What is she talking about?
I don't know. I mean, are these Nigerian prince emails or something?
So is she suggesting that Travis called out a solicitor so they killed him?
Well,
Because
it
that was
could
the
be.
question. If
Yes.
you didn't kill Travis, then who did?
Yes, exactly. And she has his passwords to everything.
Hmm.
That's weird, isn't it? I mean, why would
Yeah,
she
well,
have that?
she just said he was a very private person, but I have his passwords to everything.
I see all of his messages, all
Sorry.
of his emails, no problem. um, yeah, seeing all the emails. What are these emails? Solicitation, spam mail. And he writes back and says, "Listen, stop spamming me."
Okay, so they kill him? That's
Could be
look, I
reasonable
mean,
doubt. That's all that's needed.
I guess so. Look elsewhere. Don't look at me.
Right. Exactly.
And I don't know if anything ever came of those. I don't know. I know his tires were slashed.
They sure were.
I don't know.
Maybe you weren't the person that did it. Maybe you just were physically there when it happened and somebody else did it. I mean, I guess, that's a possibility. If that's the case, help us out here. Help yourself out. I don't know what else to do for you here, Jody. I'm kind of at the end of my rope. You're not going to get a whole lot of people that are trying to help you out along the way, beyond this point. If you didn't do it, then who did? Because everything is pointing to you, not just pointing to you, but, screaming that Jody killed Travis. And I thought that I could come in here and talk to you and talk some, sense into you and get you to, kind of help yourself out. You don't need to help our case out. You don't need to help their case out. That's a slam dunk.
I know he showed me.
And what I'm hearing is somebody who doesn't give a rip about what happened. I'm hearing somebody that's worried about money, your appearance, everything about you. I don't hear anything about Travis unless you're specifically asked. How do you think that looks?
Listen, I don't care so much.
No,
about
you listen. You are not grasping the reality here, Jody. You're worried about wedding pictures and, all this other stuff that is really insignificant.
Well, listen, my life is over. Travis's life is over. I'm sorry about Travis. I didn't take his life.
All right. Well, I guess I was wrong.
The reason I cared about those other things is because those people still have lives, and I care about those people. And they don't know where their stuff is, I happen to be in possession of their stuff. And so.
All I know is all of the innocent people that I've talked to that have been accused of a crime don't act the way that you do. And you are acting like the person that I portrayed, the ugly, cold-blooded murderer, one of the options that I portrayed. That is how you're acting. There is nothing in your actions that would indicate to me that you're the victim of circumstance. And you're going to be sorry, when you get down the road, and
I agree.
you'll probably be sorry that you didn't do the right thing. You have an opportunity to do something right here. I don't know what to tell you.
It's so strange that she just sits there, doesn't say anything.
That's what I was wondering through this whole thing with Detective Blaney. If you don't want to talk to her, then why are you there? She doesn't have to talk to her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
So
don't
she's just
know.
gonna sit there and listen and offer nothing. I mean, we know she wants to ramble when it's about something insignificant,
Yes.
like her sister's rehab or,
Wedding
whatever.
pictures, all that kind of stuff.
Right, whatever bullshit she's talking about. But it seems like such a waste of time. You know what? It just occurred to me. I bet she agreed to talk to the detective because she's trying to find out more information. Like she wants to
Sure.
know more of what they know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can definitely see that. She was very curious when she was talking to Detective Flores, wanting to
Hmm.
see the pictures, what what does the crime scene look like, all of that. She definitely wants to know. But it's so strange that she's just sitting there with nothing. I mean, she does cry sometimes, but to sit there, it's of course it's impossible for us to place ourselves in that position of an innocent person if we were innocent. I mean, I know I would be. I don't know about you, but
Probably not.
but I can't imagine just sitting there. And we're not talking about hours and hours and hours of interrogation later where somebody's just completely broken. She has had a night out of there. Of course, she was in jail. So, we're not talking about a restful night's sleep or anything like that. But it, she hasn't been broken by these detectives. She has had a very calm experience as far as they're concerned. They're not yelling, they're not throwing things, they're not, slamming the door, coming in and out and, getting in her face or anything like that. They're talking very softly, both of them. And they're just being matter of fact. That's as harsh as they're getting.
Hmm.
So, the fact that she's just going to sit there and stare at her, I'm not sure what, it's weird that she's not saying, I didn't do this. I didn't do this. It seems to me like that would be the thing that would just keep coming out of somebody's mouth who was truly innocent.
Of course. And silence is uncomfortable. To just sit there and stare at somebody.
Yeah, imagine how the detective feels. Like Jody's just staring at you right now. Probably not even blinking. She just is. Oh my gosh.
Show me that I wasn't wrong, Jody. Show me what's inside your heart and not what's on the exterior. Help me understand why it happened and that it wasn't cold and calculated and planned. Because that's how everything points right now. You owe that at least to Travis's family. Give them some closure. Because I know, just from working with all these families that have lost loved ones, that they're not struggling with who did it, they're struggling with why.
That's what I've been struggling with.
Do you not understand why you did it yourself, maybe? Is it something that, is it a part of you that came forth that you've never seen before? I don't know. I know Travis's family is struggling with why, and that would be the one thing that would give them closure. They may never like you, but I think that they would be appreciative of why their son's life was taken. You can't give them their son back, but you can at least give them the peace of mind as to why.
I'm kind of surprised Jody hasn't corrected her. She keeps saying their son,
Yeah,
but his parents are dead.
right. They should just let her sit under the table. Maybe she would talk there.
I know if it was
her safe place.
My child, that's what I would want. And I know that you're not a mother, but all women have those mothering instincts within them, and I think that you can understand that, what I'm saying. And that's why you're hanging your head right now.
That's all she's doing, just hanging her head. She's not crying.
Was I off base, Jody?
I can't imagine what it would be like to lose one of my brothers.
Wouldn't you want to know why you lost one of your brothers? I've never met them, I can't speak for them, but I would bet, you know, my paycheck, that that's what they're wondering right now. And you can at least show that you have a soul, that you have a heart, that you understand that need in them, and do something for somebody else besides yourself. That's the least that you can do for them right now, is give them an answer. Tell them why. That's how you can control something that's happening in your life right now. Because you have all the power there. It's a gift that you can give that family.
And nothing.
Tell them why.
Nothing, just staring at
Use
the
me
floor.
as the voice to tell them why.
I just don't know why.
Did one thing lead to another and it just got out of hand? And it's unexplainable even in your mind? Or did you have it all planned out? You know, was he roughing you up and you just couldn't take it anymore? Was he being violent on his part?
He was only that way a couple times. It was before I moved. And people just, I had bruises and stuff, and people were like, "Oh, is Travis beating you up?" And we're like, "Ha ha ha." And he got mad because I wore a short sleeve shirt, but it was like 100 degrees outside.
Oh, that's interesting because she told Detective Flores the day before that Travis had never hit her, never laid a hand on her. So she would have no reason to kill him.
Right. Right. And it's interesting because obviously Detective Blaney is going down a path. You know, she's saying, "Tell me your reason why that you did this. Is this the reason why? Did he start to fight you and you fought back and something got out of control and all of that?" And she doesn't deny any of that. She just says, "Oh, he only hit me once." she's not answering the questions. And I don't understand why.
She has a gift for talking without saying anything relevant
True.
or answering the question that was posed to her.
Yeah.
Most people, I think that's a talent of hers.
It must be because she's and the thing is that she's making the detective believe that she's admitting something here.
Mm-hmm.
because she's not saying, no, it's none of those things. I didn't do it. Right? She's not saying that. She's responding to a circumstance versus the big question of why. She's just
Right.
so she's answering by staying silent. That would be
I,
saying yes.
yeah, well, I mean, she's kind of denying it because the detective said, was he roughing you up? And you had to fight back. And she's like, oh no, he only did that one time.
Yeah, but
So that's not the,
it's such a weird way of doing it, because to me, if I were to be doing this questioning, and I would throw something out there like that, tell me why you did this. Did you do it because? And then you answer the because portion of that
mm-hmm.
only. Then I'm going to be thinking, okay, well, that's not the reason. So there's another reason. So we just have to figure that one out.
Right, of course. An innocent person would say, I didn't do it. No, he wasn't beating me up. And no,
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
attack him. I did not do this.
Yeah. Crazy.
So this is
And by the way, it drives me crazy that her shirt and pants are different colors. Like, come on,
Well, you
guys.
can't be picky
Uh,
in the Siskiyou County Jail or something.
yeah,
So,
yeah, but I just feel like, it's just not right.
mm,
the perfect picture of a relationship
No,
that
it
you've
was
been
very
through.
rocky. I've never once denied that we had our challenges. That he's said several choice words to me that weren't nice, and but he's not the only person that's ever done that. My own father has done that. Other women and men have done that to me, and other boyfriends.
But you didn't kill them. You didn't get pushed to the point where, you couldn't take it anymore. That's what we're trying to understand. That's why. Either way, those detectives in Arizona have their case made. But the least you can do for that family is give them an answer. I'm not saying portray Travis as this ugly, horrible person, because I don't know that that's the right thing to do either. But at least let them know that it was a two-way street, and it wasn't all your fault. Or, like I said, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it was. Maybe you did plan it from day one and carried it out. If his mom and dad were sitting here right now, what would you say to them?
I would tell them I'm very sorry.
the difference in her posture is really interesting too from the day before.
Oh, yeah.
The day before I've mentioned this before, but she was like leaning across the table towards the male detective, like very engaged in what they were talking about. And now she's got her arms crossed and her shoulders are hunched. Her legs are also crossed. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know anything about body language, but I mean, it's clear. Like you can see that she's very uncomfortable and
Oh,
closed
yeah.
off here.
Absolutely. Yesterday, she, like you said, she's posing pretty much across the
Hmm.
table, and she's very comfortable. She's flipping her hair all over the place and sitting with her legs crossed, and getting very, very comfortable, just hanging out, talking to this man. And now, I'm not a body language expert either, but that's a very closed in position with her arms crossed. It's like a protection,
Right.
type of a thing to make yourself smaller. So yeah, she's definitely doing that. And certainly she talks very soft. And so some of this is hard to hear exactly what she's saying. She pretty much whispers.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting statement. Did you hear what she said?
Yeah, before Travis, I've never lost anyone this close to me.
Yeah. She killed him. I don't
Right.
know.
I mean, are we supposed to feel sorry for her here? Oh, Jody, are you okay? I'm so sorry for your loss. Even though
Yes.
you killed him.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, all of the statements that she makes, that they're just so ironic. When his tires were slashed. That type of stuff, or even something like this. It's like, well, yeah, exactly. You lost him because you killed him.
If they asked you why it happened, what would you say to them?
I don't have an answer. I don't know why I was killed. I don't know why.
Alright. Maybe you can't understand why, but what led up to it? What would you say to them? Because that would help them with the why. If you're struggling with the why within yourself, then what led up to it?
Again, she's not saying I don't know. She's just sitting there.
Right. She's not denying it. She's not, because at this
How could
point,
you
she still
explain?
hasn't even admitted that she was there.
Right. Right. Not yet. Not yet.
To his mom and dad, what led up to it that would help them understand? Are you saying that to me, or are you saying that to his family?
To everybody, to his family, to my family, to Travis, to God.
Then if you truly are sorry, Jody, clear your conscience and give them an understanding of what led up to it. Don't paint yourself as the cold-blooded person that they'll be left with unless you give them an understanding. I don't want to believe that I was wrong about you.
I'm still kind of wondering why she agreed to talk to the detectives if she's not going to talk.
Well, I think it could very well be like what you said before about her wanting to get information, but she's not asking questions either.
Hmm.
So, I'm
Maybe,
thinking maybe she's thinking she can help herself. If she's in front of somebody, then at least she's not sitting in her cell.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just preferable to sitting in that cell or
Mhm.
being in jail, which I'm sure would be really scary.
Yeah, definitely.
Could you have any clues that I could use?
Sure. I'll be right back.
While she does that, I just want to mention that this that we're seeing right here is so different too from the stories that we hear about her in jail
Hmm.
and or in prison, I should say, when she gets to Arizona and stuff, because it was almost like she was running it like a crime boss. Like, remember she had that one person have like a magazine and she wrote messages.
Yes. I was watching the trial last night and I
Mm-hmm.
saw that part come up.
Yeah.
She like did this like code.
Yeah, it was coded like you went to different pages and
Hmm.
it was told she was trying to get to one of the witnesses
Yes, exactly.
and send them information to get them to lie.
Yeah, and then she lied on the stand and was like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's such a contrast of seeing this here and seeing the obviously the person who was so calculated did what she did to Travis, but then to see her after the fact, really still trying to run things and to control things and to control the story. It's pretty funny.
That's all we have is toilet paper. I can see that your tears are real. That obviously is nothing that you can fake.
You know, Travis told me that my tears mean nothing. I said that one time when we were fighting.
How'd that make you feel?
Well, I knew they were real, so that's all that mattered. It just made me, I don't think I don't know, it was weird because sometimes he just seemed to have no emotional understanding or depth, and then other times he could move himself to cry like that if he wanted to, or if he was on stage and it made him, helped his speech or whatever. But those were things that he felt deeply about. So we're all different. We all express our emotions differently, and I realized that.
Did he know how to push your buttons?
We knew how to push each other's buttons. I could make him mad in 5 seconds. It's not my favorite pastime or anything, but I just knew how to do that, and he knew how to make me cry in 5 seconds. So I think his emotional expression was anger, and mine was just sadness, I guess.
So she's still trying to take away the rage that people are going to believe that she obviously had.
Hmm.
Of course, because the crime was so violent. Of course, she had to be in a rage. So, the detective is trying to ask her, you know, what was their fighting like? Did they push each other's buttons? What was it like when he would insult you and make you cry? Did that make you angry or something like that? And she once again is making herself the one who retreats, the one who just is going to cry. But Travis will get really mad. Just like he's super, super strong because of the way that he works out.
Right. She's only gotten angry one time, and it's when she kicked a dog in high school.
Yeah, when she was what,
And
14?
right, and every other time she just cries.
Yeah. Yeah, she
So she's
cries.
definitely not capable of a crime like you said that would take so much rage, to inflict those kind of injuries to
Yeah,
another person.
definitely.
Like you said, it's just so ironic the things that she says. Oh, his emotional expression or whatever she said was
Mhm.
anger, and mine was sadness.
I know
You
exactly.
killed him.
I know exactly. And when she said that he was saying your tears aren't real, they're not really. I'm sure that he was well aware of her tactics to manipulate and things like that. Obviously, we don't know the context of the argument, and that isn't to say that he couldn't be mean, because
Hmm.
we've seen the things that he has said, and those will come
Right.
up. But to make it seem like, no, I just get abused by everybody. My dad says bad things to me, boyfriends, friends in general, just everybody's mean, and sometimes I just have to cry because
I
there's
just cry.
yeah.
Is that what happened? Did he push your buttons or you push his buttons? Is that what triggered this whole thing? No. Because looking at the pictures, it looked like you guys were engaged in some sort of.
Uh-oh, she saw the pictures too. Jody's
I would
naughty
be so
pictures.
embarrassed.
Well, it's not preferred. She was much more excited to see the big binder that Detective Flores had of all of her blown up pictures.
Well, I
But
mean, how do you explain that? And she doesn't even try to explain it. She
no.
just sits and stares.
Again, probably not blinking. I'm just going to assume that she just sits there with her eyes wide open and just staring at her. Just makes it
Yeah, like a
creepier.
lizard. She has clear
Yes.
eyelids, like a lizard.
Oh my gosh.
Intimate moment between the two of you. It didn't look like it was all going bad. It looked like, something happened real quick.
Something, something.
And that's the understanding that I was talking about that you could give to the family. Maybe you don't know why, and I understand, that's a pretty deep philosophical thing that you'll be, struggling with within yourself. I'm guessing. But the factual things that led up to it. Um, and then, people can draw their own conclusions from there. But sitting there silent and not saying anything makes you look like a horrible person. I mean, obviously, you've had other relationships with, ups and downs that never drove you to that point.
They were far worse than Travis.
So what was it? What was it with Travis that set you off to such a degree? I understand that you're a very private person. Everybody has said that, and that's glaringly apparent. But all your business is going to be out in the open right now. So there's really nothing to hide from anymore. You know what I mean?
That wasn't as private as Travis.
Are you worried about his reputation? Is that what you're trying to protect here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned to extent I don't want him to, I would rather everyone didn't know that he was, that we were both violating certain chastity laws continually. It's a very big deal in the church.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that his bishop knows. He keeps everything private. And, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with our faith, but Travis has another bishop now, you know, in the next life. He's working through those things. So he's got his own path. I don't want his family to, I don't know, I don't think all of his family share his faith, or if they do, they're not as involved deeply as he was. So I don't know how they would feel. I'm sure they don't care. They just want to know why. Can't imagine what they're going through.
So, I mean, at least on some level you can understand what's going on in their head. You know, the why. The why is what we've been talking about. Was this a situation where you guys were involved in an intimate exchange and things got too rough? Is that why the secrecy and the privacy with me today? Then what's keeping you from unloading your burden? Is it your own pride? Do you think at this point that your pride matters more than Travis's family's grief?
I think that was a good point by the detective, a really good statement, because she's trying to convince Jody that the only way she can make herself not look like a monster in this situation is to give his family some closure and explanation. And of course, the detective just wants a confession.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But she's framing it like you can help these people that are grieving. And if you're not a horrible, selfish, evil person, then you would give that to them.
And also ugly. Remember, she said ugly before.
Yeah, and I think that really bothers Jody. I think she's very superficial.
I agree. And the idea too that Travis's family wouldn't care about the stuff that he was up to sexually. You know, that he was going against his faith, because like Jody said, she doesn't think that any of them are involved, and if they happen to be, then they're not as diligent about that as Travis was. So why would they sit there and judge Travis and be like, oh, you know what? I get it now. He deserved it somehow because he was having sex when he wasn't supposed to. But they weren't those type of people, of course. But also, that was something that Detective Flores had to remind her of, that Travis's family is not going to care. None of that matters. Nothing that he did matters now that he's not here anymore. And they just want to know why that happened. They obviously know who. That's pretty clear to everybody. But they want to know why. What happened? How could this happen? You know, this is a strong, happy man who was in his early 30s, had everything going for him, and he's brutalized the way that he was and just dumped in the shower. what happened in order to make that happen? And she was going on and on, happily talking about, how obviously thou shalt not fornicate was not on the list of commandments, but that was something that she didn't come up with on her own. But she said it here, though. She said, I'm sure that they won't care. But of course, she had to be reminded. So she remembered from the previous conversation.
And again, it's so ironic that she says that she's concerned about how he's remembered and doesn't want people to know that he was going against the spirit, or however she phrased it. And then you watch the trial, and she was very open about all their sexual encounters.
Right. Yeah, explicit.
Yeah, and it's a little late for that, Jody, considering that she took the pictures the day she killed him.
Right.
All the explicit pictures, and now she's concerned,
Well, yeah.
What if they don't have a faith base like Travis did? And what if they don't have a spirituality to fall back on to help them through this process? Some people can deal with it better when they have their own spiritual roots that they can dig down and hold on to. What if they don't have that? What if they're in more turmoil than somebody who did have a faith base? Wouldn't you want to help them out? I mean, you tell me that you're sorry.
If I could, I would help them in a heartbeat.
Well, you know that you...
And that's another good point, too, about the faith, and that perhaps they may not be involved in some kind of a faith where they believe in life after death, or that, Travis is still with them. They could very well be thinking he's just gone. They wouldn't have that type of comfort. Like we talked about last time when she's saying, "Oh yeah, he's in a great place right now. He's all good."
Yeah, she even said, "I know he's doing great."
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Oh my God.
And she just said it here, actually. I think she said that he has a new bishop now in the next life. And I don't know anything about the Mormon faith. I'm assuming that's something they believe, I guess. But she said that he has a new bishop in the next life, and he's working through things now in the context of like breaking the chastity laws.
Right. And I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I was thinking I misheard that. I was thinking that he had a new bishop while he was alive and they were working through what was going on. Like he had he changed for some reason. But I did hear that too, where she was saying in the next life. But I thought, no, she can't be talking about that. So you're right, that must be something.
Yeah, I could have misunderstood, but I mean, if we both heard the same thing.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. That must be.
It's just interesting to think that that's what he's working on in the next life with his bishop, is the fact that he had premarital sex with Jody here.
Right, that's the main focus. That's the main focus of it. Yeah, that is.
You can't bring him back. But you can help them understand. And no matter what you say, it's not gonna change their love for their son. It's not gonna make them dislike their son, no matter what happened. But at least they'll have closure. least they'll have closure. If you're not going to do it for yourself, at least do it for them. If you've already resigned to the fact that your situation is hopeless, why wouldn't you do that for them?
That's a good question. I think I will.
That's a great question, because Jody said my life is over. Travis's life is over.
Mm-hmm.
And when she was talking about how she cares about the other people in her life, when she was talking about the wedding photos,
Yes.
and if you really feel that way, then yeah, what do you have to lose? Why don't
Yeah.
you tell the truth?
Well, she's not ready yet.
Yeah, I guess.
Yes.
I think she was going to write a letter to Travis's family here.
Yes. And she
And
did.
did you ever read the letter?
I don't know if I did. I don't recall it.
I don't think I read it, but I think I heard a summary of it.
Okay.
And it was just kind of it was just a bunch of bullshit. It was like, I'm sorry this happened. Um, Basically like, I'm sorry, but not taking any responsibility, or there was probably some bullshit in there about like, don't worry, he's doing great in the next life.
Yes,
So
exactly. Right. He's doing great. He's doing great. Yeah. Well, maybe we can track down that letter if it's available anywhere, or even a
hmm
summary of it, just to get a good idea. Maybe we can do it the next time.
yeah, good idea.
Yeah, use the restroom.
Sure. You understand that I have to go in there with you?
It's fine.
Okay.
All right. So Jody is going to be away for just a minute or two.
I don't know which way it is.
Go this way. All the way down and to the right.
Well, the detective is really getting nowhere
I
with this.
know. I know she isn't. She isn't. She's really trying though.
She's giving her the option of, well, I think she is recognizing that Jody is very um, vain, and she wants to portray herself in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So she's saying the whole, well, either you're a cold-blooded, ugly murderer, or there was, a reason, and like make me understand why you're not a total psychopath and just a cold-blooded killer.
Yeah, she's giving her some reasons, and I'm wondering if this was something that she's using to formulate her next plan. That it was
Oh,
someone else, and she
kind of
just
like Chris
happened to
Watts
be
did.
there. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
hmm
Because earlier on, she had said, "Well, were you just there and somebody else did it?"
hmm
So I'm thinking
Yeah,
that Jody's mind is turning.
yeah. I think detectives do that a lot because it opens up the door for any kind of confession,
Right.
and then they
Yeah.
can go from there.
Yeah, exactly. As long as they're talking, that's a good
hmm
thing. But you're right, she's not getting anywhere. This must be just so frustrating. But I think at the same time, she can see that Jody has something to say,
hmm
and it almost makes it seem like she wants to say something when she stays silent the way that she does. You know, she's not full out protesting. She's not in full out denial. She's listening to what she's saying and then is just kind of sitting there letting the questions hang out there for a really long time without saying something. So
Yeah,
perhaps
I also think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
that's okay. I was just going to say that perhaps, you know, she's thinking that she's eventually going to get there and hopefully soon.
hmm I think she also, this is preparing for Flores to come back
Right.
because, eh, you know, Jody just doesn't have the rapport with this detective that she has with Flores. And as we'll see, this detective is kind of calling her selfish. She's like, "You're selfish. You should think of someone other than yourself for once.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can help this family and you don't want to."
Yeah.
And then when Flores comes back in, he is much warmer towards
Mm-hmm.
Jody.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like good cop, bad cop, kind of.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I guess they have to try different tactics, right?
hmm
In order to see what's going to work, and when something's not working, then they'll move on to the next and keep on going.
hmm
So before we took a break, I posed the question to you that you felt was a good question. If you see your situation as so hopeless, why wouldn't you at least give the family some closure and some peace of mind as to what happened or why?
Strongly evaluating any
If you have any feelings, emotions within you, if you have any goodness in your heart, I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Because if you don't, and you don't give them the information that they seek for the closure, that makes you a very selfish person. How have you been selfish?
Travis was always so selfless. He gave me everything that I needed. I needed money and he had it, it was mine. I needed food. I needed to borrow his car. I needed to use the internet because mine was down. Anything. I needed to. If I wanted to borrow any books, he had a cool library or audiobooks. One time he helped me with my prepaid legal business, and he doesn't benefit monetarily in the least from it. And I would help him too with that each month because you have to qualify for his position. It's a monthly qualification. Sometimes I would just help him with computer stuff. And I think I'm selfish. time we just met in Ehrenberg when I lived in Southern California. So we could just rent a hotel room and make out the whole weekend. And
All right.
we drove to go see a movie, and there was this lady standing with this.
Imagine renting a hotel room so you can make out.
She's very immature.
Yeah.
How old was Jody here again? Like 27
20.
or
Yeah, I
something?
think she was 28, something like that.
And you're gonna rent a hotel room to make out all weekend? Can't you just do that like for free at your house?
I mean, I guess not. I don't know.
The way she talks is, you know, it does have like an immaturity to it. She says boyfriend, girlfriend a lot.
Yeah, she says that,
Um,
and even just her tone of speaking is
mhm.
very very soft and almost whisper like, like
Yeah,
yeah.
I was thinking that. I had heard something somewhere about, I think it was about liars, actually.
Right?
And that's something they do, female ones at least. They like try to put on kind of a baby voice or a little girl voice
Oh,
to sound more innocent.
okay.
And that's what I was thinking when I was listening to her whispering all through this. And even now, she just in her tearful tone, she said, "I think I'm selfish." She sounds
Yeah.
like a little kid.
Yeah, she does. She does. And again, she's telling pointless things.
Hmm.
The detective is asking, "How are you selfish?" And she's talking about Travis and how he's not selfish.
Right. And I wonder because I feel like everything Jody says is calculated. She does it for a
Sure.
reason. And it's not always a good reason. Sometimes it's really stupid. But I think if you remember earlier when she was talking to this detective, I think it was earlier, she said something like, Jody, you're not talking about Travis at all. You're just talking about yourself and things that are concerning to you. You're talking about wedding photos and money and things that aren't important, but you never talk about Travis. So I
So
wonder if that's what she's trying to do
I
now.
would say absolutely yes.
Hmm.
I think that's exactly what she's doing because she is taking cues.
Hmm.
She's when they tell her you're not acting right. You're not acting like the person who is devastated, or you're not acting like an innocent person. And she'll start to do whatever it is that they point out. Whether it's change the
Exactly.
position that she's sitting, because at one point earlier, she had her head down, she was hanging her head. And the detective was saying, "Well, this is why you're hanging your head, is because essentially you're guilty." So what did she do? She sat back up.
Right. There was a point when she was talking to Flores too, and he said, "You're not acting right, Jody. You're not acting right." And she's like, "Well, is it because I'm not crying?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"No, that's not why." And she was like, "Well, tell me why." And he's like, "It's not important. You're just not."
Yeah.
So then, like moments later, do you remember she said, "How many times was Travis stabbed?"
Yep. I
And
do.
he's like, I don't know, a lot. He was stabbed a lot. And then she just burst into sobs
Yeah.
randomly,
Yeah.
like trying to adopt that, but in the most obvious way. She's just not very subtle about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And also because it's right after they tell her
Right.
something. Right after she's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm supposed to cry. Okay, here we go. I'm going to do it right now."
Sign. He pulls over in his BMW and pulls down his window and said, "Are you hungry?" And she said, "Yeah." So we turned around and went to the Wendy's right next to the hotel. And he got her this triple decker and the biggie fries or whatever it's called and the biggest drink that they had and gave it to her. He always did stuff like that.
once in Chandler's, but it's all.
So she's crying about this, but not that he hit her one time.
Yeah, that was dismissed
Yeah.
quickly. She seemed more upset that he got angry at her for wearing a short sleeve shirt, supposedly, allegedly. But it was like
Yes,
100
allegedly.
degrees.
Yeah.
In this story about Travis offering this woman food, she's told that story several times. She told it to Inside Edition in
Did
her
she?
jail interview. She
Okay.
did, yeah, almost word for word.
Oh,
She
jeez.
went into the type of burger he bought and the
Yeah.
size fries and the size drink and how generous and thoughtful he always was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, you're right, it's weird. I think she's trying to paint the picture. Travis was such a good guy. I would never want to hurt him. He helped me so much. He helped everybody. He was so wonderful. So why would I ever want to hurt him?
Yeah, sure. It's that. And then it's also that I'm the one who retreats. I'm the crier. I'm not the one who gets angry.
Hmm.
It's either one or the
I mean, if
other.
she was smart, she would have elaborated on the story of when he hit her and left bruises.
Yeah. Yeah. She didn't say what happened.
No, and if it really happened, I think she would have all the details of it. She could tell all the details of this story about him buying food for a homeless
Mm-hmm.
person,
Right.
but she had no details with the domestic violence story.
Yep, exactly.
Just Navajo Indians, and nothing against that tribe. They've got a very rich culture, but most Navajos that you meet today are really overweight, and but they have their animals are starving. Everywhere you go, they got ribs sticking out. It used to make us both so mad. Travis bought. We ended up splitting it, but Travis bought 7 cheeseburgers for 300 hungry dogs, and one was a mother puppies, and they just wolfed them down. And we felt better, but we just felt like we couldn't do enough.
Then where did things go wrong, Jody?
I don't know.
Reel her back in from these stories.
Right, that's a lovely story, Jody, but you killed Travis and we need to know why.
Yeah, exactly. Let's circle back to the real reason why we're here today. Let's not go through all of your memories, alleged or not.
Hmm.
This is your chance to make at least something right. Even if it's on a small scale, it's a big deal to his folks.
Do they already know I'm in custody?
I'm sure they do.
Should they feel better about that much?
Did you catch what she just said? I
Yeah.
couldn't hear.
Yeah, she
What
said,
it,
"Do they know I'm in custody?"
mm,
His family. And
mhm.
she perked up with that.
Right, that's what I noticed. That's why I was curious as to what she said.
Yeah. Yeah, and then she said, "I'm sure they feel better about that." When the detective said, "Yes, they do."
Okay, what a strange thing to say.
Yeah, she's very much into her appearance.
Hmm.
You know, she obviously doesn't want anybody to believe this about her. You know, that she is capable of doing this or that she's guilty of that. She wants to be part of the family, part of the girlfriends, this
Yeah,
part of the community with
exactly.
everybody else. And while she knows that everyone's looking at her because she's said that as well, and the detectives have never corrected her because
Hmm.
she was right, but she also wants them to believe that that she's innocent until proven guilty,
Hmm.
and no jury will ever convict her. So
We'll see about that.
yeah.
Need closure. I mean, just because you're in custody doesn't give them any closure.
Is this something that you planned from day one? Is this something that you wish you could take back?
I wish I could change it.
See, she says shit like that. If she says anything at all, but then she'll say, I wish I could change it. So she's implying something. That's what I take away from it. That's what makes me crazy about her answers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. It's so frustrating, such non-answers.
Yeah.
I wish I could change it could mean I wish it never happened. But
Right.
she's not getting anywhere. She's not directly answering her question.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's, I don't know. She
Yeah.
is either telling some ridiculous story that has nothing to do with what she's being asked, or she's sitting there in silence, or she gives an answer like that. It's just
Yeah.
like where when she's talking to Detective Flores and he's talking about her guilt, and she's saying how she feels guilty for what happened because she
Mm-hmm.
wasn't there to stop it.
Yeah, how ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's like these really twisted twisted things that she's thinking, that it's not answering the question. The words don't answer the question. And her
Mm-hmm.
thinking is totally opposite from what it would be to correctly answer.
Yeah, she does that a lot on the witness stand too during
Mhm.
her trial. That's why I keep saying like she has a talent for it.
She
I don't
does.
know if I could go around questions the way she does, you know?
Yeah.
I
So
want to throw that roll of toilet paper at her.
it looks pretty big, so.
It does, yeah.
And isn't that funny? They don't have tissues. Like you don't have tissues. They're like,
Not
here's
brainmate.
some toilet paper. What'd you do? Go in the bathroom and take whatever was there?
Looks
Took it
like
off
it.
the roll. Oh man.
Oh, did they bring it in with them when they went to use the bathroom?
No,
She
she
was
brought
like,
it
"Don't
in
forget your toilet
earlier.
paper."
She brought it in
No,
earlier. Yep.
I mean like when Jody asked to use the bathroom afterwards, she was like, "Oh shit, the toilet paper is
Right.
back in the
Oh
interview
yeah.
room."
Yeah, exactly. That's yours. You're gonna take that with you everywhere you go now.
Wish I could rewind the clock.
What would you do if you rewound the clock?
I would have done everything I could to prevent it.
If your fate is inevitable in your mind, why wouldn't you give the family closure?
I don't know why. I don't know if I can give them what they want. I don't know.
Wouldn't you at least want to try and let them make that decision?
Do you think it's because she doesn't know why?
No, I think she knows why. I think she just doesn't want to admit it. I think she did it because she was jealous. I think she was like crazy with jealousy.
And she did the whole, if I can't have you, nobody else will. And you're not going to make me feel like a piece of shit while you go around with Mimi, who doesn't even want you.
Yeah, I really think so because she brought the gun to visit him. So
Yeah.
I don't think it was just an escalation of things. She planned it.
Right. But I'm just curious if she would be able to vocalize that and say it was because I was jealous. Do you think
Hmm.
she even knows that that's stupid? Or,
Yeah, I think she knows that it's stupid because she tells the detectives, I wasn't even that jealous. Travis was the jealous one.
mm-hmm,
But what's interesting is she was starting a new relationship, or like trying to start or thinking about starting a new relationship while this
mm-hmm,
was going on with
right,
Ryan Burns. So most people, you break up, you're heartbroken, you're jealous, he's with other girls, whatever, and then you find a new boyfriend yourself and you kind of get over it. Like the jealousy, the feelings aren't as strong anymore.
right.
But something with Jody went wrong. And I like you said, I think it was, if I can't have you, no one can.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to let you get away with making me feel like that,
Yeah, and
with making me feel like I'm not good enough.
right. And I think that's what it comes down to because, we don't know her entire relationship history and it's not that long. She wasn't
Hmm.
with a lot of people, but I think perhaps, and I know we touched on upon this before, that she may have been the one to end those relationships.
Hmm.
And in Travis's case, she did not have that say. I know she says that she broke up with him and all of that, but that's not legit.
No. And she kept going back.
Exactly. So maybe she said those words like we're done, we're breaking up here, but
Hmm.
that door was never closed. And it clearly
Right.
wasn't because they didn't actually, break up every single time that was happening. They just had a very rocky relationship. And even when they weren't together anymore, she was still going over.
Hmm.
She was still crawling through his doggy door. You don't just do that for somebody.
You do not. Right. And he was seeing other people, or like trying to see other people.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
don't think she was.
Not, I don't believe while she was there. I don't think that started until she moved back.
Right. So her focus was 100% on him
Yeah. Yeah. And,
and
and I,
trying to get him.
I know we were talking about it before too, how she would have ended up back down there, even,
Hmm.
being married or something. She would have ended up back in Mesa.
Yeah, I agree.
So crazy.
If it were my son, I would want all of the information I could so that I could make some sense of it. Is this something that is so horrific in your mind that you don't even want to think that you could be capable of such a thing? So, that's the person that I was talking about. The person that is scared and remorseful and didn't want any of this to happen. So I don't think I was wrong, Jody. This is your opportunity to make right on some of your selfishness and let the family decide how they're going to deal with that information and how they're going to use it. And why should they have any more suffering than they've already had? in your religion, and forgive me for my ignorance about it.
It's mostly just a Christian-based religion.
Do they believe that the truth shall set you free?
I think, yeah, because it has to do with repentance.
And if it's just a Christian-based theology, then I would say they would.
I think it even says that in the Doctrine and Covenants, which is another part of our scriptures. Trying to remember if I just read that the other day.
Have you been giving much thought to that?
No.
Not within the last 24 hours. I haven't really been thinking about a lot, except
You are the only person that has the information that the family seeks. They don't seek, crime scene information. They will already have that. They seek something that is on a much deeper level. It's an emotional level. And you are the only person that can help them with that.
I wasn't angry at Travis. Everyone keeps saying whoever did this was so angry.
Then what were you? Were you scared? Were you jealous?
I remember feeling jealous when we were together, because just one time, especially when he was letting this drunk girl hang all over him, and he wasn't doing anything to stop it. He was just supporting her and holding her, and like right in front of me, like, what are you doing? But I didn't want to make a scene. All our friends were there, so I just left. I felt more sad. There were, of course, more feelings of insecurity, because it made me wonder, what are your deeper philosophies if you think that's okay and we're in a relationship together? And to him it was harmless, and I realized that he didn't mean anything by it. We talked about it. So I remember feeling jealous about that. That was almost a year and a half ago.
So if it's not jealousy and it's not anger, then what was it? Have you been asking yourself that same question? Is it that you're having a hard time figuring it out within yourself?
This weirdo wants the detective to believe that she was just jealous one time in their relationship,
Right.
in their entire relationship.
I know.
She was
Is it
jealous of a
fear?
drunk girl hanging on him, but she wasn't jealous that he was taking another woman to Cancun and
No.
all the other girls that he was hanging out with or talking to, which we hear about later in the trial.
Yeah, he was a player. And she laughed
Love it.
about that
Hmm.
when Detective
Yeah,
Flores
she
mentioned it.
yeah, she agreed and said, "Yeah, but he doesn't mean to hurt anyone.
Right.
He's just a flirt."
Yeah. But she wasn't jealous because she knows that. It's all fine.
Just one time because of the drunk girl.
The drunk girl. Disgusting.
Her stories are just so weird.
I know. I know. It's like she has one story as her example.
Right. I mean, just say, yeah, of course I got jealous sometimes. Everybody does. Yeah. I mean, I was a little bit jealous, but not jealous enough to kill him. But instead, she tells this random weird story.
Right. From, what was it, a year and a half ago, she said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mad when she was 14, jealous when she was 26.
Yep.
Okay.
So if it was fear, then what is it that you're afraid of, or were afraid of? Are you looking back and trying to remember that day?
I'm just trying to remember everything. Things that happened, our conversations, like I just
What do you remember about that day that would help the family understand? Did you at least start out enjoying each other's company that day? Did you go there with the intention to kill him? No. What was your intention? Did you mean for that to happen?
She won't even look her in the eye.
No, she won't. These silences are killing me. Come on,
I
Jody.
know.
I would make a terrible detective because I'd be like, what are we doing here? If
Yeah.
you don't want to talk, like I've been staring at you for an hour. I'm tired of it.
I felt really good at expressing myself. I think I'm just gonna write his family a letter.
Would you like to write him a letter now?
I think I want to. I mean, I could start, but it would just be like a rough draft. It wouldn't be something that I'm ready to submit. I want to think about it and make sure that that's what I really want to say. And I know that you want everything now, but and if you don't want to do that or help me anymore, that's fine. But I'm still going to write him a letter. I think.
Well, I think that's a good idea for you to write him a letter. As far as the now goes for me, like I said, it's not going to make any difference for me, but it would make a difference for you, and it would make a difference for Travis's family. Because I think I'm very safe in my assumption that they're seeking closure. And the more information that they have to understand why will give them the closure that they seek. And I think that you want to do that. I can see that in you. They do deserve that. If you have a hard time expressing yourself, that's okay and understandable in this situation. This isn't an everyday, average, normal situation.
I can usually see things better in writing.
If you would let me help you, I can help you with that expression. But you have to be willing. And you can still write him a letter. And the least you can do is give the family something. I don't know how many times I can say that enough. You say that you didn't mean for that to happen that day. You nodded your head no when I asked you that. And I believe that. But in order for it to be believable, there has to be some understanding as what led up to it.
I was just thinking about how she said she's not good at expressing herself,
Mm-hmm.
and she's actually pretty articulate.
She's very
I mean,
articulate. I mean, as far as her speech is concerned, but
mhm.
she doesn't make a lot of sense when it comes to having a conversation.
Well, I'm sure it's because she is trying to speak without answering the question or
Sure.
incriminating herself.
Obvious.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
that's harder than I would find that difficult,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So I got to give her credit for that. I mean, yeah, she's no dummy. I mean, she did some really dumb things in this case. Like she didn't plan it very well. She thought she was planning it very well, but she made some rookie mistakes, I guess you would say. Um,
Sure. Yeah,
but
I don't
overall,
think anybody knows how to, make sure that every single detail is followed. It's almost as if nobody understands that there's entire teams of people that are going to be working on this,
mhm,
and that you're not smart enough to get away with that. It's like the Chandler Holderson case, which we'll get to, and that's a great one.
mhm,
But he was the same way. Like you think about what he did, and all of the people that come in, the all of these experts and anthropologists, forensic scientists, and there's a specialty for everything, and they will bring them all in. And it's just like, for that, where he never could
right,
have planned for what happened to him. And same thing with her. She thought that she had covered everything, but that's
mhm,
impossible to do. You're in, I would imagine, a pretty elevated state. Your adrenaline is pumping, and you're not going to be able to plan everything perfectly. What is Travis going to do? You can't control
right.
that exactly. So
Well,
things can go wrong, and you could end up putting your handprint on the wall without even knowing.
right. There are things that can't be hidden,
Mm-hmm.
that, like you said, a team of people who are trained and educated to specifically do that and find these things, they're going to be able to find them.
Yeah.
And in Jody's case, like you said, you're in, um, your adrenaline's pumping, you're in an elevated state, probably very panicky.
Mm-hmm.
And she was worried about, I'm sure she was worried about, like, what if his roommates come home? He had a
Oh,
ton of people that lived in his house,
oh my gosh.
or, a
Yes.
handful of people that lived in his house. So she had to, consider that, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what's it's interesting to think about when she just said that. Oh, I'm not good at expressing myself. I disagree, and I think she disagrees. She knows she's good at expressing herself. I'm sure
Yes.
she is proud of how articulate she is and how intelligent she is. I think she might even overestimate her own intelligence a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
she was tested. She got IQ tests in prison, and she scored really high.
Sure.
And she was a high school dropout.
Yeah.
She dropped out of high school in, I think, her junior year.
Mm-hmm. Was it
So, I
after she
mean,
got involved with that guy?
yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Man, guys were her downfall.
Yeah, I totally agree. If she had met a guy that was like very studious and took his schoolwork very seriously and like went to college and all that, I bet she would have done the same
She would,
thing.
yeah.
She adapts to whatever her love interest is doing or interested in.
Right, right. Yeah, it was mentioned about her grammar and the way that she spoke. She was a stickler about that. She
Hmm.
was the one that would correct you if you weren't speaking properly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she is highly intelligent. So, it was interesting when she has to sit there and Detective Blaney is like, maybe you're not as smart as I thought you were.
Yeah. I bet that's killing her.
Yeah.
Well, in her own mind, she was probably thinking, like, that's what you think, bitch.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Mhm.
100%.
Was he expecting you to come over that day?
He wanted me to. I told him I wasn't going to.
Was it a surprise that you actually showed up? Is it a matter of you not understanding how things got so carried away that it would end up in a situation like that? Or did you go there with the intention to kill him? Do you want to leave here today with those questions unanswered for Travis's mom and dad?
His mom and dad passed away. But I don't, I'm not saying that to be like, just mean that when you say that, in my mind, I understand because they're all together.
I see. So who slept behind his grandmother?
She raised him. He has a lot of brothers and sisters. I think he has 3 sisters, maybe 4. Tanisha, Samantha. I don't know. And he has some brothers. A big brother and a little brother.
So what about his grandma and siblings? Do you want to walk away from here today without giving them something to understand?
She's such an asshole for sitting here and crying over his family like that, or
Yeah.
appearing to cry over his family like that, considering what she put them through. I mean, not only did she kill Travis, of course, that's the worst thing she could have done, but she tried to drag his name through the mud, and they had to sit in the courtroom for weeks and weeks and listen to the horrible things that she said about him during
Yeah.
the trial.
Yep. Trying to make her the victim.
Right, exactly. Painting Travis as a horrible villain in every way possible, in the worst way
In the
possible.
worst way, yeah. Yeah, we'll hear all about that.
Hmm.
But yeah, every time his family is mentioned, she starts to cry.
Yeah, I don't know if she thinks that's what's expected of her, to be sympathetic with the family, because that's what an innocent person would
Mm-hmm.
do.
Yeah,
But
it
she's
could
also in the
be.
position here where she's telling the detective is telling her, you can help the family. You're the only one who can help the family right now. So if you care about them so much, then do it.
Right, but if she did, she's not one of them. She's the one who caused all of it.
Hmm.
And
Exactly.
I'm really curious if her pauses and her silence, her refusal to really answer the question, even though she knows what the question is, I'm wondering if she has already formulated her plan for version number 2 of that
I was
night.
wondering the same thing. Hmm.
Yeah. Because this could very much play into, oh, well, she wasn't answering the other day. She was very hesitant to say
Hmm.
anything because she's scared.
She's scared. Exactly. Yep. I was
Hmm.
thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
If your fate is
I can't
sealed
wait
and
till we
you
get to
line up
version
with
number
God.
2. It's so ridiculous.
It's so great. Yeah, it's so great. And also at trial when Martinez wants her to act out how Travis was, which he gets to version number 3. Yeah, it's great. Her stories are just it's all ridiculous when
It
it
is.
comes down to
And
it.
And her acting skills are terrible. You know who? D- Amber Heard reminds me a lot of Jody.
Oh,
She
okay.
really does. They're both terrible actors,
Mm-hmm.
and which is, I mean, at least in Jody's defense, she's not a professional actor.
True. True.
Like Amber is
Absolutely.
really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting one too. We'll
Hmm.
see what happens on Tuesday.
Can't
Maybe.
wait.
Maybe, yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
Right? Wouldn't you give them that? And at the same time, help yourself out.
That's on their end, by the way, those little messages.
Okay.
I wonder what they're doing.
Are you the cold-hearted person?
Call her
Maybe
ugly
yes,
again.
you are.
I want to know what Jody's looking at.
I
There's like a
know.
nail hole in the wall or something she's focused on.
Probably.
You.
Weak.
She said she's weak.
What is your weakness?
Bears do it.
I can understand that. We're all human. We all have weaknesses and embarrassing things that we wouldn't want anybody to reveal. What's your weakness?
It's stupid and it doesn't really have anything to do with this too much.
What a shocker.
And I'm looking for it.
Do you have problems with your temper
No.
or anger issues?
No, it's nothing like that. I mean,
It has
maybe
nothing to
sometimes.
do with this. Why bring it up? She's so weird. I thought she was gonna say, I'm weak because I couldn't end my relationship with Travis, even though I saw that it was going nowhere.
Hmm. Or
Or,
I'm weak because I couldn't say yes to go and see him that night because if I did, then I could have saved him.
right, of course she could have saved him.
Yeah,
That makes perfect sense.
yeah.
I yell. Nothing like. I wouldn't go as far as saying English. I think it's just because I come from a family that yells at everyone.
That's how they communicate, by yelling.
I think there's just sort of desensitized to it. Like after I moved out, I was away for a while, so when I come back to visit, it's like you don't need to yell. I'm standing right here. Or my mom will yell at my brother. Like he's standing right there. You don't need to yell. And she's like, well, he doesn't listen if I don't yell. And the thing is, it's because he's become desensitized to her yelling. So until she yells, he's like, okay. So it's maybe it's something like that, but not anger. And I've been able to check that a lot in my yelling because it's not a nice way to communicate, in my opinion, and it doesn't really help anything.
So how could things go so wrong? You know, I'm not understanding. If it's not jealousy, it's not an anger problem. You said you were afraid, or you nodded at least that you were afraid. But I'm not sure what you were afraid of. may not be trivial to his parent or his grandmother, his brothers and sisters. And I think any information that they could have to help understand, you know, who you are and what transpired that day is going to help them. It won't bring their son back, but it will help them understand. And I don't understand why you wouldn't do that for them. Because you obviously care. I'm not asking you to make excuses for yourself, because I don't think that you're the type of person that would do that. But I'm asking you to do something for somebody else. Somebody that deserves to know. What was it about your relationship with him that went so wrong, that would end up like that?
I wonder what she's looking at now. She's in the other direction.
And if that wasn't your intention, then what was? You say that, you know, you said at one point when I posed the question to you about why you wouldn't do that for the family, and you said that was a good question and you think you will.
Pretty sure I will.
Well, now's your time. This is the opportunity that I'm trying to give you.
I understand and I appreciate that.
Then what's keeping you from doing it?
I think I just need to sort through things. I'm just not sure. I deserve the right answers.
They deserve to know what happened. You have those answers. You may not know the why within yourself, but you have those answers. You know what happened. you can still write them a letter when you figure out within yourself, you know, some of the questions that you're struggling with. But in the meantime, you can let them know what happened. The facts of what happened.
I don't have all the details.
What details do you have?
Yeah, she
Was
must
he
already
happy
be
to see you when you
formulating
got
her
there?
plan for story number 2. Because I'm sure she's thinking, they have the pictures that I was there that day. They have my palm print on the wall in blood. Like, they're not buying that anymore. So I've got to come up with a new story. Because
Yeah.
otherwise she would say, I don't have any of the details. I don't know anything. I wasn't
Right.
there.
Right. Yeah, she knows that they're not budging. They're
Hmm.
not budging a single inch at all. It always comes back to, you know, you're the one who can tell us why. You're the one who can help his family. It's not whoever did this is going to be able to help his family. It's you can.
Hmm.
So yeah, they're not budging.
That day? Or did he appear happy? Or was he angry that you showed up?
Oh, those are good questions. Was he
Hmm.
happy that you were there, or was he angry? Was he expecting you? Those are all
Oh,
good
very good
questions.
questions.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
we'll find out next time. And I have something I would like to talk about that goes along with that next time as well.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah. So we'll have to wait
interesting.
for that. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. This was a long one. Hopefully, you all made it to the end and
Yeah,
enjoyed.
her silence was killing me.
Her
And I bet
silence
it
is
was killing
going.
her because she loves to talk.
Yes, exactly. She's just thinking, well, I think that's what it is. She's thinking.
I agree. I totally agree. I think she was using that time to try to come up with story number 2
Yeah. Yeah,
on the
and
fly.
poor Detective Blaney. I mean, she tried. She really tried. I think she thought that Jody was right there because
Hmm.
essentially for somebody who doesn't know the outcome of the story yet, which we do, so we're at the advantage, but if you were listening to this not knowing who Jody was, you would be thinking she's ready to tell. She's almost there. She's not answering the questions, but it seems like she kind of wants to because
Well, she's not
somebody
denying.
she's not denying. Yeah. And for somebody
Hmm.
who wanted to express their denial or somebody who was truly innocent or again if they're guilty and just want to express their denial, they're going to be doing those answers immediately when the questions are
Right.
asked and she sits there staring at something. So she definitely earned her paycheck that day, and it's not over yet. So she's asking some great questions. We will be back next time to see if we can come up with the answer. Take care.